Hey everybody! Before I start with this week's video, I want to quickly say that not every video is going to be me talking to the camera from now on. I'll try to make them more common than not, but it turns out it's really hard to find places that are photogenic, quiet, and far enough away from my house to avoid doxing, lol. So some videos are just going to be voiceovers. So, this week's essay is titled You Can Just Do Stuff, or alternatively, Kaleidoscope Eyes. It was written on the 17th of the 1st, 2023 at 11:06 p.m. Most, actually all, of the essays in this notebook so far have been incredibly self-reflective and personal. Today, I would like to take the opportunity to write about something external. Well, let's not kid ourselves here. It's still going to be personal. I think we can both agree, however, that too much of contemporary writing on the internet is actively fighting against identification, a derealization of the self. Thoughts are spoken less by people and more by companies, and anonymized web pages. I like to think my essays swing so far in the other direction as a means of pushing back against all that. To keep with this frame a bit, today's essay is about how you too can simply start making stuff today, and also how the internet is full of people, inspirational people, who also realized one day that you can just do things. Up until the 9th grade, I was always the science kid. I did just okay in English class. I think I would like to save the story of how my English teacher fully converted me into a liberal arts kid for some other time. But once my transformation was complete, she gave me a challenge. In 9th grade, we had to do 2 big projects that each lasted a semester, and required a sort of mini-thesis, an experiment, and a creative response, all on an environmental topic of our choice. For my second semester project, my English teacher convinced me to write a collection of short stories as my creative component, and then get it printed into a proper book. I distinctly remember saying, "You can do that?" You know, I never really think about that moment, but sitting here now and writing this, I think it might have been one of the most important moments of my life. I think from then on, I knew that no matter what, I can just do something if I want to. Don't ask permission, just get to work. Ever since then, I've become a project machine. I'm always working on something. Most of them fail. I'm serious, almost nothing I make sees the light of day. But if I didn't start projects as aggressively as I do, I know that I would have never made as much stuff as I have. When I started making YouTube videos, I just got started. I was inspired mostly by Jacob Geller to make videos. Oh, and also Matt Colville. I wrote a bad script and recorded a bad voiceover, and I edited bad footage over the top. My next video was even worse, but I didn't care. I made a third, and I still love it. When I started making games, I literally just searched YouTube for how to make a game, and by the end of the video, Brackies had taught me how to make a fox character jump around the screen. I made my first proper game over the course of the next 2 months, and it got fairly good reviews on Newgrounds. Nobody told me to do this stuff. Or did they? I said at the beginning that this would be less personal essay, and this is where I start to make good on that, slightly. Who told me to start these projects? Who told you to start yours? Well, I would argue that it was the people who inspired you. They may not have said it as clearly as "you should do this thing," but it's their words, actions, or art that made you realize that not only can you do this thing, you should, or even you must. Who are these people? Where are they? These people who inspire you. Where can you find more of them? To me, that is what the tremendous power of the internet has really been. Inspiration. This experiment of making a video of an essay every week was inspired by the Vlogbrothers. They gave me permission, so to speak, to create whatever I need to, and it doesn't have to be an entire production or Gesamtkunstwerk. The Vlogbrothers were inspiration 1 of 3 for these videos, however. It was John Battle who gave me permission to weave the textual and the personal together into something inseparable. And lastly, it was 2 essays written by Tim Rogers that he performed much as I am doing now. Essays he wrote in one sitting, and then simply read aloud to the camera. No editing, just him and his words. So that's one piece of advice. Do what other people are doing, but only if it's not just one person doing one thing. Look at the world with a kaleidoscope eyes. What I'm getting at here is that the internet becomes an entirely different place when you stop seeing everyone on it as entertainers, and instead see everyone as your contemporaries. Every person here making art or education or entertainment is a person who's inspired to create and then refused to wait for permission. Permission isn't coming, you just have to start. Itch.io is a website I find particularly inspirational. If you don't know, Itch.io is a games distribution platform, sorta like Steam, except the barrier to entry is much lower. A lot of first game projects, unfinished games, broken games, zines, tabletop role-playing games, or just anything that wouldn't fit on a more traditional commercial platforms ends up on Itch. It's where I post all my games, if you'd like to try them. The point here is that Itch once felt like an entertainment platform to me. But then I simply started making games. And once I was done, I didn't ask, am I allowed to post this? I just did. And now Itch isn't just an entertainment platform, it's also where my contemporaries are. Calling all of these thousands of strangers my contemporaries somehow makes them feel like my friends. Actually, some of them are my friends. That's the great thing about communities. You meet people. Because I started making games, I went to university for game design, so I've gotten to meet so many designers. I'd like to make a special shout out to the game several of my close friends made together last semester called The Teller. The link to that, and actually everything I've talked about, is in the description. Seeing my friends finish The Teller, in particular, was one of the most inspiring things ever. All of them brought something different to the table, and it turned out amazingly. I can't wait to work on a big group project like they did myself. I'd also like to shout out Casadastra. I won't tell you how I know the creator, because they are a very private person, but Casadastra was my absolute #1 favorite game that I played last year. It has gone on to inspire and haunt me, and I suspect it will for many years to come. Finally, I'd like to shout out my friend Quinn, whom I really look up to in the indie game space. Check out their game An Outcry, or There Swings a Skull. But mostly, keep an eye on what they have coming up. I really could keep listing people, but the point is this. You, really, truly you, can get started on doing things now. You'll have to practice, but all of your contemporaries are behind you. They are your friends, and they will inspire you. Exactly 1 month, 1 hour, and 41 minutes ago, I started writing on the first page of this notebook. I am now on the exact very, very middle page of it. I just started, and now I've got all of this. And you can do that too. You can just do things. This essay was finished on the 18th of the 1st, 2023 at 1:20 a.m. Thank you for listening.